This video is on comparing two proportions using a confidence interval. In this problem, I'm comparing how good I am at hitting using my right hand and left hand. Just for convenience, I'm going to remind myself that when I'm talking about the first group, I'm going to be using my right-handed information. When I'm talking about the second group, I'm going to be talking about the left-handed information. And we'll see why this is important later, but it's a really, really good idea to, before even trying to do anything using technology, label your groups and know what you're working with. Otherwise, when it comes time to actually do your conclusion, it's going to be really hard to tell what's going on. So I'm going to start with the TI-89. I'm going inside of StatList editor, so I'm going apps. I'm always going in StatList editor when I'm doing a confidence interval or a hypothesis test using a TI-89. And I'm doing an interval, so I'm choosing F7 up here at the top. So I'm going to hit my blue F7 to go up there. And I'm looking at two proportions that I'm comparing. I'm using z-scores and I'm doing an interval, so this is a two proportion z interval. Number of successes for the first group. Well, I said I was going to do right-handed and then left-handed. So right-handed, I had 30 successes out of 150 trials. Left-handed, I have 20 out of 120. And my confidence level, I'm always writing this as a decimal, 0.90. I hit enter. I hit enter again to verify I've typed in the numbers correctly. And this gives me an interval of negative 0.044 up to a positive 0.1109. It says my first success rate for right hand, because that's my first group, is 20%. And for the left hand, it was about 16.7%. So it looks like I'm slightly better with my right hand than my left hand until I actually consider the interval. So a couple of notes about your interval when you get it, and I'll write down what we got and kind of help with your conclusion here. This is a confidence interval for my first group, which is my right hand minus my left hand. So a couple things going on with the sign. If you end up with an interval that is positive, positive, this tells you that the first group is larger than the second group. If you end up with an interval that's negative, negative, this tells you that the second group is larger than the first. To get a positive number, I need something large minus something small. To get a negative number, I need something small minus something large. If you're in a situation like we are, where you have both negative numbers and positive, this tells you the results are inconclusive. The reason for this is 0 is inside of that confidence interval, so I don't know if the first group or the second group is better. So the reason why I was like, you have to make sure you're labeling what your first group and second group is because if I just ended up with negative, negative, and I didn't know which group was which, I wouldn't actually know which group was larger there. That's the whole point of doing the confidence interval in the first place. So TI-89, I ended up with a negative to a positive. This meant my results were inconclusive. I'm going to do the same thing now with the TI-84. I'm going into my TI-84 Smart View here. I'm going Stat. I'm going over to Test. All of my confidence intervals and test are inside of the test part. And I'm choosing two proportion Z interval. Proportion is for percentages, sample is for averages. So if this was a claim about two averages, I'd choose the other. Number of successes for the first group. Again, my calculator doesn't know which one of these is left hand and right hand. It only knows 1 and 2, so I need to know what each thing is. And my confidence level is 90%. I calculate. Again, I'm seeing that negative to that positive value. I'm getting the same interval. I'm still getting results are inconclusive. So in my TI-83, 84 stat test, I choose 2 proportions E int. On my TI-89, I'm going into apps, stat list editor, and I'm choosing F7 for intervals. If you're trying to do this thing inside of GeoGebra, open GeoGebra up, go into probability, stats, and I am doing a estimate or an interval where I'm comparing 2 proportions. So in GeoGebra, estimate means interval. So I'm doing an interval for a difference of 2 groups. I'm choosing this last option. If you do it correctly, you should see all of the fields for you to type in. I'm typing in my percentage, my number of successes. So this is important as well. I have to make sure that I'm working with whole numbers here. So if it gives me decimals, I have to convert those things to whole numbers. It gives me a low of the interval of negative 0.0442. Great, same thing as before. And an upper value of 11.09%. So I'm continuing to get the same high and the same low for each of these processes, which is good. My results are inconclusive no matter how I cut it here. So there appears to be no statistical difference in between my hitting with my right hand and hitting with my left hand when it comes to baseball. To be honest, I'm just not very good at baseball. That's probably why. We're going to continue looking at more calculator demos, but this was just a short one looking at 2 proportions.